So the New York Knicks just played the Detroit Pistons again for the third and final time this season, and it did not go well. Once again, getting blown out by Detroit, this time at Madison Square Garden. They get swept in the season series, and quite frankly, it is concerning. The Knicks do not look like they are on the Pistons level at all whatsoever, and that's what we're going to sit down and talk about today on this episode of Fireside Knicks. I am your host, Dylan Backer, and that is my co-host, Johnny. Let's get into that stuff right now. So the Knicks played the Pistons at the Garden. You felt like this time with the Knicks having a mostly healthy roster and the Pistons being without their two main centers that the Knicks would have a good chance to win this game, but none of that happened. The Knicks came out just unprepared. I mean, they started off the game on a 9-2 run, and then after that, things just went completely south for them. The Knicks shot awful from three. They only made, I think, 8 threes all night long, and they let Cade Cunningham just completely walk them down in their own building. Cade Cunningham had 42 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists. I mean, you tip your cap to Cade. He played an amazing that the Pistons were playing short-handed. So kind of disappointing, pretty disappointing actually, that the Knicks came out looking like that. And really, I think it's pretty clear there is a gap between the Pistons and the Knicks at this point. Right, all season we put out how close the Knicks are to the Pistons and how we think the Knicks can right there level. I think the Pistons light years ahead of the Knicks. Can kind of get your initial thoughts really on the Pistons game yesterday, and really just what you've seen mistakes. Because me, I mean, this is a soft team. I'm pretty disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, Pistons didn't have two of their main centers. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart were out. This team just can't get over the Pistons, I guess, right now. And a lot of people will compare this to the Celtics of last year. And I get it. We got blown out by the Celtics last year. We went into the playoffs and beat them. But that's not going to happen every time. That's not going to happen every time. I think it would be kind of silly to compare both of them because I hate to be negative, but at that point, like I don't want to be negative, but right now I'm going to be because this is the situation we're in. Celtics were a better team than us last year, and I wouldn't say we got lucky because we outplayed them in the playoffs, but that's something that's not going to happen every time. And right now, the Detroit Pistons are a better basketball team than the New York Knicks, and the fact that we've gotten pretty much. I wouldn't say we got blown out in this game, but they won by 15 and they blew us out in two other games. So yeah, this is very worrying. I'm not just gonna sit here and be like, all right, yeah, we got swept by them in the season series. We're gonna go into the playoffs and look great. No, that's not happening because you can't bet on that to happen every single time. The Celtics were one of the best three-point shooting teams ever last season. They still kind of are. They have the same kind of like the same team, but last season and the year they won the championship, this is one of the best three-point shooting teams ever, and they missed like every shot against us. That's you can't bet on that stuff to happen each and every time. So I'm very worried. I'm very worried. The Pistons look like clearly a better basketball team. I mean, the past three games we played them, they look like the better offense and by far the superior defense. And when they don't have their all-star center and a really, really good backup center in Isaiah Stewart, and we just are getting destroyed, that's very worrying. And I know Karl Anthony Towns finished with 21 points, but it didn't really look like 21 points to me at all. When they're missing Stewart and Duren, you expect your all-star center, a guy that's making $50 million, to be more involved in this offense. He looks completely phased out, completely phased out. And that is a big, big issue. Jalen Brunson finished with 33. That's cool. That's great. Jalen Brunson's always doing his thing, but OG looked completely off. Now, I'm not going to fully blame him. I think he's still dealing with that toe issue, but Mikal Bridges, 8 points, uninspiring. Landry Shamet off the bench, solid. Jose Alvarado didn't have a good game. This was just a bad game from the Knicks, and I'm worried because you just can't bet on these type of things that happened last year to just happen again in the playoffs. You just can't bet on it.
Yeah, you really can't bet on it. And as you pointed out too, Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, I have to talk about this because a lot of people are probably going to say, "Oh, Cat wasn't getting the ball, this that." Yeah, no, he wasn't getting in the ball in the first half. But part of that you can blame on Brunson or any of the facilitators. Yeah, but you can also blame Cat for not being a little more assertive in demanding the ball when he has a mismatch. I mean, for crying out loud, the Pistons did not play a true center last night. They had Paul Reed starting and Tolu Smith, who I had never heard of before, who's on a two-way contract as the backup center, and he played 18 minutes for them. And Karl-Anthony Towns had 2 points at halftime. Granted, when he finally got the rock a little bit more at the start of the second half, he started to do some stuff, but then he made that boneheaded play where he tried to lob it to OG Anunoby. Now, part of that is both of their faults. OG probably could have finished that. Cat maybe could have thrown a better pass. Whatever. That's a play that can't happen though when not only you're playing against the best team in the NBA, but you were trailing and you're working on making a comeback. Because once that play happened, I mean, all the momentum was gone. Because after they turned it over on that play, Duncan Robinson hit a three, and then they gave up another one right after that, and they never really were able to climb back. So it's the self-inflicted wounds that just continue to hurt this team. You feel like that the Knicks have the talent capable of beating anybody that's in front of them, but they just do stupid stuff sometimes that really, really drives me nuts, and it's upsetting because the Knicks traded 6 first-round picks or 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. They paid OG Anunoby $212 million. They got those guys on the court to stop guys like Cade Cunningham, and they couldn't do it. Granted, OG Anunoby came back from an injury. I get it. But Mikal Bridges, it's been an issue all season with on-ball defense. And the fact that they let Cunningham just straight up walk them down for 42 in their own building without their all-star center, that just can't happen. It can't happen. I understand Cade is an amazing player. He's a superstar level talent, MVP candidate this season, no doubt. Understand that. But at the same time, the Knicks have completely they made themselves, a self-labeled title contender. And right now they don't look like one when they're getting absolutely destroyed by this Pistons team, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I understand, on the optics front, losing by 15 doesn't look as bad as losing by 38, but you still lost by double digits and you still got outperformed thoroughly throughout the entire night. So that's really what I'm disappointed about. That this team just doesn't. They can't match the physicality of that Pistons team. They cannot match that same energy. I don't know why. I really don't understand. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's the players. I don't know what it is. But if you're going to make yourself a title contender, you have to make yourself a fearful opponent. And right now, the Pistons are not scared of the Knicks. The Pistons see the Knicks and they love that matchup. The Knicks, they are scared of the Pistons. Straight up, they are scared of them. I mean, I just got to be honest with that. Because every single time they have played them this year, they've gotten outclassed, bullied, outperformed, outcoached. They have ran laps around them. And it's pretty embarrassing at this point. And, maybe we'll come back right they are. But at the end of the day, if the Knicks run into this Pistons team in the postseason, they're in trouble. They are in trouble. I don't see them getting past the Pistons at this current time. Maybe that opinion changes, come April or May, whenever they might face them, if they face it at all. Right now, we're disappointing that that's the case because you felt like this was the Knicks' opportunity to really establish themselves as the true top team in the East, and they can't do it. So that's some disappointing stuff right there. But I kind of want to move on to, another component from last night as well, and it's Mike Brown. I'm not just gonna not talk about Mike Brown in this one because I thought he coached poorly. I mean, Jeremy Sohan, our newest addition, he didn't play him really until the fourth quarter, and when he did play him, he was actually playing well on Cade Cunningham. He actually got some stops here and there, and you felt like he should have gone to him much. Twitter saying that they should have kept giving those minutes to DOR, but nobody was able to stop Cade Cunningham at all, except Sohan. Sohan actually played really well on Cade, but he threw him in the game too late. And I was not a fan of that. I really did not agree with that decision at all. And Johnny, I kind of want to get your input on that because we talked about Sohan. We've talked about him now in our last 2 videos about what he could bring. And after seeing what he did against Cade Cunningham last night, I mean, he has to be getting more minutes now at this point. You have to continue to see what you can get out of him because you have to make yourself a physically imposing team. And I want to get your input.
Yeah, I think he should have. I think he should have definitely went in the game earlier. I mean, Cade, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he had like 25-ish points at halftime, 17 or so points in the first quarter. Why don't throw Sohan in the first or the second? We're getting absolutely destroyed by Cade. Like there's need to be some sort of change in that first half, and Mike Brown didn't do it. And I feel like Jeremy Sohan is the perfect player to go on Cade Cunningham. He just signed with the Knicks on a veteran minimum contract at 22 years old. He was a lottery pick. He's going to want to prove a point. This is a big matchup. There's a lot of energy, should be energy from the Knicks, but why not put Sohan in? He's going to want to prove a point. He's going to want to be physical. That's an issue from Mike Brown. I do want to pivot a little bit because when you were speaking, I pulled up a few of the numbers. Rebounds, Pistons 6 more. I know we were missing a bunch of shots. The Pistons are gonna get more rebounds. We had 6 less rebounds. The Knicks had 6 less assists. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges played a combined 57 minutes. They had a combined three rebounds and assists. I don't know how that's even possible from supposed elite two-way wings. OG Anunoby, 32 minutes. 32 minutes, 0 assists, zero rebounds. Don't know what we're really doing. Mikal Bridges, 3 rebounds, 0 assists. Didn't get to the free throw line. But OG only went to the free throw line twice. We need more consistency on the offensive side of the ball. I know OG just got back. He was great before the break. I'm not really trying to focus on OG too much, but Mikal Bridges, I love Mikal Bridges. I was super excited when we got him, but it feels like every single game you'll get an 18-point efficient, really good game from Mikal. The next game you'll get 5 points, not really doing much. The next game you'll get 25. The next game you'll get like 6. We need more consistency from this team on the offensive side of the ball, and of course on the defensive side of the ball. The defense has been an issue, with this core for the entire time this core has been a thing. So I'm still obviously worried about the defense, but it feels like this offense is so inconsistent. Jalen Brunson's always going to do his thing. He'll have the 1 or 2 inconsistent shooting nights, but if we're talking about offense, you cannot blame Jalen Brunson at all. Yeah, he'll play some hero ball every now and then, but I don't want to say it, but like maybe sometimes there needs to be some hero ball. I know we play worse with it, but like how can you trust these guys to score the ball when you don't know what you're going to get with them? And that's something I don't like. I don't want to even bring that up because if you can't trust your teammates, then the whole thing is just going to explode. But yeah, we need to see some more consistency on the offensive side of the ball with Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG at some points, but you just don't know what you're going to get from this team on a night-to-night basis, and that's the biggest issue with me. You don't know what you're going to get. It's like you're picking out of a hat. Oh, are we going to have a great game tonight? No, maybe not. Maybe the next game we'll have a great game. And right now, if say we were to face Detroit in the playoffs, they didn't have Duren or Stewart. I see this ending in 5. I say we get 1 game if we're lucky. I don't think this is a 6 game series. Not how we're playing them right now. Absolutely not. Feels like Detroit's just gonna walk to the finals. Walk to the finals. I honestly think even if Jason Tatum comes back, I think they're walking to the finals. Walking to the finals. This team can score. I know they had some inconsistent shooting nights every now and then, and they don't have amazing outside shooters. It's pretty inconsistent, but this defense is absolutely elite. You have Cade Cunningham, who's incredible. Jalen Duren's having the best season of his career. And then you just have guys like complementary pieces that could just put the ball in the hoop. They could defend. This team feels like it's just going to walk to the finals, and the Knicks aren't really putting up a fight, which is just disappointing. It's really disappointing. Because I didn't want to interrupt you real quick, but this was the season for the Knicks to go to the finals. This was the year. You don't have Tyrese Halliburton. You don't have Jason Tatum. This was the year, man. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say it, but the Knicks haven't won in 50 plus years. This was the year to go to the finals, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that at all. At all.
Yeah, it's that simple. And I mean, for all we know, this could all change, and they end up making the finals, and all this conversation we're having right now was forgotten about. But we have to deal with the Detroit Pistons. They're ready to face a team like that come postseason time. I mean, they have 2 months to figure it out, and they better figure it out because we're looking at a point now where we're headed towards another postseason in this core, to give Brunson other options, and we're not getting enough out of him. I mean, you can blame the system, you can blame Brunson himself. You can blame the players. I don't care. The reality is that it's not enough, and they're not providing enough, and it sure looks like it's going to continue that way, moving forward. And even if the Knicks coast through the rest of the regular season, they put this Pistons game behind them, they end up getting the third seed or the second seed, whichever one they end up getting. You a physically imposing team. I mean, Cleveland could even give them trouble. Boston can give them trouble. I mean, any of those teams really in the Eastern Conference playoff picture can give the Knicks. I believe this is a good team. I want to make that clear. I do not think this is a bad basketball team, but I think it is a fundamentally flawed basketball team on a lot of levels, and I think it gets exposed. Bully them every time. They just bullied the heck out of those guys every single time they've matched up. It was the same way in the postseason last year that the Knicks barely clawed their way to a victory in. So, you know, it's just for a second here. I want to talk about him because my goodness, man, I'm running out of patience with this guy. I'm sorry. I'm running out of patience with him because everyone played bad except Brunson, right? So I want to make that clear before I do get into that point. But you feel like you're just consistently not getting enough from Mikal Bridges night in and night out. And the Knicks spent a boatload of picks to bring him in to be an elite defensive player. And it's November past. Mikal Bridges has been just nothing. He's been mostly a ghost. And it's disappointing because when you spend that much on a guy, you expect him to provide you a consistently high level impact. And for game, more often than not, though, it's not the case. And it's so disappointing because not only did we, send all those picks away to bring him in, we signed him to a lucrative extension over the summer, so they made him be getting tiring now, seeing every single night or most nights where the Knicks come up short, they lose a game, and you check the box score and Mikal Bridges did. What is he out there for? What is he even there for at this point? It makes me really wonder just why they did the trade because Mikal. I said this to a friend the other day, and I'm going to repeat it on here. The idea of Mikal Bridges sounds better than actually having Mikal Bridges on your team. I'm just being honest. Mikal Bridges, the idea of him, 6-foot swing, good finisher, good mid-range, efficient, whatever, good three ball. And then when you actually watch him play, or at least you watch him play on this Knicks team, he's not providing enough. And it's kind of disheartening that we have a guy like that on our team. Like it was a Tom Thibodeau issue, and for the first month, though, he's gone exactly right back to who he was last season, and that might just be who he is at this point, which is upsetting because I can go into Karl-Anthony Towns or the entire episode doing that right now are just not giving them enough. And I want to get your input on that, Johnny, specifically about Mikal Bridges because we've talked about all the other guys, but I think I think a real conversation needs to be had about Mikal at this point because unless things magically change starting with their next game and it goes that way to the rest of the season and into the postseason, it's disappointing. It's really disappointing. So I want to hear what you got to say about what I just had to say about Mikal.
Yeah, so we spent 6 first-round picks on Mikal Bridges. I'll get to something I wanna say in a little second. But we spent 7 first-round picks, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo on Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. Like, I'm sorry, but, we gotta, talk about Leon Rose because that's a really that's almost like a fireable offense because you threw your future away for these 2 guys, and they have been clearly maybe the 2 biggest issues with this team in terms of underperforming. You traded 7 first-round picks Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. That's a very, very easy package you could do to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I don't want to talk about Giannis, but back to Mikal Bridges. He's had two games this season with 25 points or more. Two. We spent 6 first round picks on him. That's mind boggling. That is mind boggling. He's had 2 games 25 points or higher. I don't even know how that's possible, man. So it's just, as you said, you don't know what you're going to get on a nightly basis from Mikal Bridges. And it sucks because, as you said, in theory, sounds amazing. In theory, he could finish. He's a good finisher, never goes to the basket. He's a good mid-range shooter, but doesn't really get the ball that much, doesn't really, drive to his spots. He's in theory, a good 3-point shooter. He'll go off for 7 3-pointers a night and then go 0 for 7 one night. In theory, he's a good defensive player, but maybe he's good, in the passing lanes, but point of attack, he'll just get bodied. He'll just get bodied. So I don't really know what to do with Mikal Bridges. And as I said, you traded 7 first-round picks and multiple players for these two guys, and I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, I think they're gone in the summer. So yeah, I think the roster was poorly constructed, poorly constructed. And I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed right now.
Yeah, I think disappointed is the best way to go about it because it's just we expected a lot more out of these guys. We really did. And you know, their record right now is really good. 35 and 20. They're Pistons team. We wanted to see them be worried about the Knicks. The Pistons are not scared of the Knicks at all right now. The Knicks have given them no resistance whatsoever. And people will come in here and they'll say, "Oh, well, but they got smacked by Boston last year, and then they beat them in the playoffs. This, that, and the third." We can't just assume it's going to happen every single year. After they made that run to the finals as an 8 seed, a lot of their fans were just like, "Oh, we'll just coast to we'll coast to the regular season, and we'll make the playoffs as an 8 seed, and we'll go on another deep run." So, I mean, you can't just continue to have that same mindset and assume that you're just going to coast through the regular season and make it to the postseason, and you just you find a way to make a deep run because you believe your team is good enough to do anything in over 50 years. You have to make yourself prove. You have to prove yourself of being in that cream of the crop. That top of the rank with all that. You have to prove yourself still. The Knicks have proven absolutely nothing to any of the NBA world right now, other than that they are a good playoff team. They have yet to prove that they are a championship level team or that they are a true title contender. They have yet to prove any of those things. That it's really that simple. In this type of environment, I guess if you want to call it that, this is the reality that the Knicks are just right now not a good enough team, and it's unfortunate that that's the case because they have talented players, they have all-star players, and they just can't piece it together. And as you said, I think at this point, they're on this core a third time unless they win a title in June. If they win the title this year in June with this group, then maybe they run it back. If they don't, which currently as
It's over. This
things
core is
stand, I do
done.
not expect them to. Someone's gone.
Yeah.
Something has to change or that and the other. We can get into all that stuff about how it's Mike Brown's first year or it's this and that and the other or cat at this expectations of making the finals, reaching it, and getting far. And while they still can do that, if they're not going to be able to beat a Pistons team that doesn't have their two centers anymore. Before we do wrap this up, I want to give you an opportunity for any final thoughts or anything because we're really making this a longer episode, but kind of had to because we really are disappointed right now. So, any final thoughts, Johnny? Go for it.
Yeah, so I'll leave this with you guys. I don't have much to say. I think I got everything off my chest. The Knicks point differential versus Detroit this season in 3 games is minus 84. Minus 84. And we're supposed to be competing with this team? I'm sorry. Minus 84. I would expect, that's the Detroit point differential against maybe Brooklyn. Brooklyn? Not the Knicks. Not the Knicks. I'm sorry, you can't defend that. I can't come on here and say, "Oh, it's fine. We did it last year. We're gonna do it again." Minus 84, people. Minus 84. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, minus 84 point differential, which is an average
That's
of minus
laughable.
28 because it's only been 3 games. Like that is extremely bad. I don't even know if it's that bad with the Brooklyn. It's disappointing until the Knicks make something change, whether it's their game plan or their rotations or something. They're not going to be better than the Pistons right now. They won't. I think this year is completely different than last year. I think the Pistons are a much better team this year than they were last year, and they're showing that. The Knicks, meanwhile, are at best the exact same team as last year. So that's what's really disappointing. As a team, had an opportunity to really control the Eastern Conference with the injuries to Jason Tatum, the injury to Tyrese Halliburton, and all that stuff. You had an opportunity, and the Knicks just like completely passed up on that, I guess. So who knows? Who knows what lies ahead for them? Maybe they end up winning a lot of games moving forward. They put this game behind them. They go on a deep run to the finals, and we'll be about that stuff. And that would be fantastic if we went by the Pistons like this, and that they just don't seem like they belong in that true title contender combo. But who knows? Everything will change. Maybe everything will change in a couple months. There's still 2 months left in the season, and then there's still a long postseason. A spot to kind of wrap things up. So we really hope you guys did enjoy this very long comment section below because we would love to hear about that stuff and talk with you guys about all that. You can also follow us on all of the social media platforms. We are on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, this YouTube page that you just watched the video on. You can follow me and Johnny's personal Twitter accounts. We'll link those in the description down below. And this episode is the next